Hi everyone, and a warm welcome to this week's episode of Low Season Traveller Insider Guides. I'm Jed Brown, your host for this week's episode, and today I'm delighted to be joined by #1 best-selling author and leading spa and wellness expert, Sonal Uberoi, to learn more about spa and wellness breaks. I don't know about you, but I've always thought of spa and wellness as being a luxurious and extravagant pursuit of the relatively wealthy. In this episode, I wanted to learn more about the concept of wellness, the types of people who engage in wellness travel, how spa and wellness link to a destination's cultural heritage, and of course, whether there are any advantages to this form of travel in the low season months. I started the conversation mildly skeptical as to whether spa and wellness is for people like me, and by the end of this delightful conversation, I was left questioning why on earth I don't invest more of my time in the pursuit of mental well-being. Have a listen and let me know if your opinion and perception has changed as a result of listening to Sonal. Enjoy. So Sonal, you are most welcome to the podcast. Great to have you on the show. How are you?
Thank you so much, Ed, for having me over. I'm fantastic. Fantastic show you have here, and I love what you do. So thank you so much for having me here.
It's our absolute pleasure. And I'm just, again, for all of our listeners, I always like to say, you know, where are you right now? You were just showing me before that you've got cooling pads. So you're somewhere very warm in Europe. Where are you right now?
I'm in the beautiful but incredibly hot city of Madrid. And it's already like 35 degrees. So yes, I do have my cooling pads on my laptop right now. And I've been based here now for 20 years.
Wow, fantastic. So listen, let's get straight to it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and most importantly, I suppose, why you do it, why you're so passionate about spa and wellness.
Well, I am Sonal Uberoi. I'm the author of the book, The Wellness Asset, and I'm the founder of Spa Balance. It's a Madrid-based boutique consultancy that specializes in creating wellness concepts for luxury and lifestyle hotels. Ultimately, what I do helps bold hoteliers to create that genuine, lasting impact of enhancing the overall well-being of the community, of their people, of their guests by using wellness. And I've always been truly fascinated by both the hospitality and wellness industries, and obviously wellness, not as the word as it is known today, you know, way back, you know, when I was younger, it was just a way of life. And something incredibly powerful happens at the intersection of hospitality when you are inviting people to your home, to your local culture, to your local community, showing them your customs, and you're matching that up with wellness, which is that kind of toolbox where you let people just connect with themselves and nurture their souls. It's like that spiritual well-being. And I've always believed that hotels are landmarks in the communities, and how they achieve that overall well-being is through that little toolbox of their wellness toolbox that could go from spa treatments through to having a beautiful glass of wine sitting here melting in Madrid.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, like when we talk about spa and wellness, and I admitted to you just off air before, I've never really done a spa or a wellness break. So I'm very, very curious on it, because like a lot of our listeners, I see these fabulous spas in different hotels around the world, and they do look absolutely amazing. And it feels like that the kind of spa and wellness form of travel is growing a huge amount in popularity just now. I suppose, first of all, why do you think that is? And also, you know, for our listeners that maybe like me have never done a spa or a wellness break, what does that look like? What does it actually entail?
I mean, you know, to answer the first question, you know, why is we're seeing this huge interest in spa and wellness breaks? And that has been in the last few years because there has been a shift in paradigm in our value system. You know, we no longer work 24 hours for no matter what. Our well-being is important. The well-being of our loved ones is important. The well-being of our environment, our communities is important. So we've shifted our focus, and spa and wellness allows us to nurture ourselves, because if we don't put the oxygen mask on ourselves, we will not be able to serve people in the best way. So, as you pointed out earlier on, people are increasingly, it's piquing their interest, like, oh, spa and wellness, that looks so beautiful. That is just the place I need to go now. And either go with my husband or my loved ones, be with them and just spend that beautiful moment. And it's not a superficial moment. It's a moment where you relax, you connect with yourselves, you regenerate, and you come back giving the best form of yourself to everyone. And first and foremost to ourselves. Only then can we serve people. And what that spa and wellness break looks like has also changed so much. Before, it was that typical kind of boot camp you would go into, and you would have all this kind of insipid, incredibly healthy food, and you'll be on this kind of diet regime and wellness and 100, just you start off with a detox treatment, several massages. So you're ensured that you come out definitely. The intention is more relaxed than stressed, but, each person to their own. And literally in the last few years, it's turned out to that, okay, I'm going to mix that lovely spa break, be in these gorgeous hydrothermal facilities overlooking a beautiful mountain, then going and having a beautiful meal and then a beautiful stroll. So it's kind of experiencing the location and connecting with yourself in a very different way. So what does that spa and wellness break look like? It could look like just 1 hour in the hydrotherapy pool, a 1 hour massage, just chilling out and reading in a deck, looking at just beautiful scenery, probably with a glass of wine. And then in the morning, having a beautiful, just a yoga session, could even be 10 minutes. So those are the kind of spa and wellness breaks that nowadays you're seeing people are demanding. And there is an increase before we would see mainly females going for these spa and wellness breaks, perhaps a certain income level going to these breaks. Now what we're seeing is a lot of the younger generation, they care about their wellness. They care about their mental well-being. So we're seeing more sessions of coaching sessions, communal sessions, social sessions, where people are actually connecting with one another. Yes, they would have 1 or 2 spa massages, a few treatments, but the focus has shifted from the consumer's point of view, where there's a need for connection. There is a need for enhancing one's mental well-being. And that's what we're seeing, across all hotels, across all our consumers. They want that. And we're creating all these exciting new packages to help them to just sometimes connect with themselves, regenerate, and solve problems that sometimes are not easy to solve, by ourselves. And the younger generation is enjoying that. The younger generation wants that. And there is no stigma associated with that kind of wellness service. That's what we're noticing. And that's how spa and wellness breaks look like today.
I love this. I'm fascinated by it because I've noticed I've got 2 young daughters myself who are very quietly upstairs as we're speaking. And this young generation, their cohort, they're certainly more fitness conscious than we were when we were kids. The gym that I go to now, it's all young people there and they take it really seriously. They're not as much, going out crazy drinking as probably I was in my generation. We weren't as big on that. And I think the next generation, they're certainly, that's certainly a trend that we're seeing, is they're certainly, conscious about their body and their health. And I think then, from what it seems to me as spa and wellness, it is that, maybe it's a cliche, mind, body and soul. It's about your mental fitness as well.
Definitely.
And about that sort of mental nourishment. And in this increasingly busy and frenetic life that we had, I mean, for goodness sake, we've had 3 years of COVID, which has been, and it's been tough on the younger generation as well.
Very much so. They've been locked in and and they're so young. For us, 3 years is a small amount of time. For them, it's 25, 30, percent, 40%, 50% of some people's lives. And you're like, good Lord, and they're teaching us how to really change how we live our lives. Sure, we need to work. Sure, we need to be responsible. Sure, we need all those things, but it can't come at any old cost. And when we are good ourselves, so, you just said it's like that mental fitness. They're acutely aware of being mentally fit. And when they're mentally fit, they naturally are serving and showing up in a better way. And if you got that healthy body, you got a healthy mind, you got a healthy body also, the other way around, but they're looking after themselves. And I think they're seeing future generations, the impact of not preventing, not looking after ourselves in our 30s, in our 40s, into our 50s, what impact that has when we are in our 80s and 90s. So they're seeing their generations and they're like, I want to be cognitively fit the older I grow. I want to be physically fit. And so, yes, there's been kind of this shift in paradigm and how they're leading their lives. And there's a lot of kindness. There's a lot of consciousness. And I just look at my nephew's school and he's only 13-year-old and my niece, 20-year-old. I mean, these are young and the way they speak and the way they think I was not at that place where they are, you know. They're amazing in this future generation. You see what they're doing and it's kind of giving us that wake up call that we perhaps didn't do things the right way. It doesn't mean we did them wrong, but there are better ways to do them. There are better ways to contribute to an economy. There are better ways to contribute to the community. There are better ways to consume. There are better ways to do things. And I think there is more of a circular and collective thought process. And that all boils down at the end of the day to ultimate well-being, you know, and wellness are the little tools that allow us to get there. So all these spa and wellness breaks probably traditionally were more, I would say, foo-foo style. Now they're changing. They're totally changing. It goes up to cooking classes. It's going up to art. It's about learning a local culture. What potions are they mixing? What herbs are they mixing to look after themselves? You know, they're so deeply conscious about what they're putting in their bodies and the impact of it. They've lived COVID. They've seen so much. They're like, we want to look after ourselves. We want to be strong. We want to be healthy and we want to make everyone around us. We want to ensure their healthiness and their well-being. So there is a definite shift and we only see it in our generation. We're the same. We're learning from them also. There's been a shift in how we do things, how we live our lives.
It's crazy. As you're talking, all kinds of thoughts are coming into my head, and one of the thoughts that I have is, do you believe that spa and wellness generally, do you believe that it's starting to be taken a lot more seriously now? As in, and I'm not saying it wasn't taken seriously before, but you know, if we were talking about gyms and physical health. That's been taken seriously for quite a while. People get it. Doctors recommend it. They prescribe it. Educate. Exercise is. They say that if you do regular exercise, the effect on your health is. If you could make a pill out of the effect that you get from regular exercise, it would be hailed as a miracle drug. It's so hugely important to our health and well-being. Do you think that spa and wellness is starting to be taken a lot more seriously now? As in, this is really something that we should all be doing for our, mental and health well-being.
I completely agree. I think it's being taken a lot more seriously. We're seeing a very sophisticated consumer, a very curious consumer. We want to know what this massage or this facial treatment will do to us. We care about the outcome of the services. And generally, you've seen there's a huge boom in our industries. People from other industries have become wellness practitioners, spa therapists, because it is a calling at the end of the day. If you want to help someone with their well-being, it's because there is a deep purpose underlying it. And the people you attract are people who also want to change something. Even it can be a small little step, but there is this kind of deeper awareness of the benefits, and it's no longer kind of labeled as that frivolous kind of spend, spending the couple of €100 or pounds or dollars on a massage. The benefits on your mental health are immense, and how you show up in other areas of your life are immense. And people are increasingly not saying, no, I don't want that. They're like, I'm curious. I wouldn't mind saving that money, not going out to a restaurant, saving to have a proper therapist. Now, obviously, the therapists that range from very many different prices, how can, and they care about the health. They're taking the money out. Like you said before, monthly membership in a gym was a must. It still is. People still will spend that. You will carve the time and money out for that. And it's that social aspect. Whereas also spa is becoming that. There is that social aspect when you're in a sauna or in a steam room or in the hydrotherapy area. It is that kind of club, and you're speaking to one another, sharing, what your own journey. And it's definitely, there's a huge awareness. And before, what would be counted as, it's for probably women, of a certain age. Now it's everyone is curious about. And I think curiosity is the first step to, seeing important changes in the industry.
I can absolutely see it happening. Let's say on my own sort of journey to well-being, I've been a member of a really nice gym for quite a while. And it's so strange. Maybe it's a generational thing, but I consider that to be my luxury. I don't really go out. I don't drink. I don't do any of those kind of things. That's my treat. That's my luxury. But that's something that I would never, if ever, money is tight, and sometimes it has been, especially in the past 3 years. That's something that I never consider cutting out of the budget, because I need that. I absolutely need that to survive. And I think that's the way in which I can see it going more and more. Like you were saying, maybe we're learning from the younger generation on this. But for me, in the past, I would have considered, if I was going to stay in a hotel, for example, I probably wouldn't visit the spa, because I would view that as, well, that's just huge luxury. It's an extravagant. That's the word. It's an extravagance. I never viewed it as much in the past as, that's something that I truly need and can help me out, like my gym membership. I think that will change. And I think maybe that's starting already, actually, I suspect.
I agree. It is happening. And obviously we're seeing prices change accordingly, because now that it needs to be more accessible. You're finding that the price point is going down. People are willing to spend. And there is a bigger pool of professional talent available that, like physiotherapists or osteopaths. They've been, before they were so incredibly expensive. Now that they're at the point where obviously they're not cheap, but they're at the point where it's a reasonable price for your health, like gym memberships. And it's the same with people are now not looking at the spa as this place that is a luxury or somewhere where you go to get yourself completely pampered, extravagant or indulgent. They're looking at it as an important investment in their future. And if it's only once a month, let's be it once a month. Or if it is, let's go to this beautiful location. Let's have a nice spa break, just the weekend, come back rejuvenated. People will spend that money, because you can spend it in London, going out to dining and eating, then you can. Yeah, that money is very easily spent nowadays. The world is a very expensive place, but nowadays these retreats and spa breaks are curated in such a way that are so real and needed. I mean, they actually respond to a real need that people are growing, are looking for, and hence the prices are also coming down. They're not that extravagant price they were before.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this briefly off air, about and I'm going to get the word right, democratization, thank you, of spa and wellness breaks, because, sometimes we do sort of think in the past, or certainly I've thought in the past that, maybe spa and wellness, that's for the relatively wealthy. That's the very, very high end. It's not for everybody. But I don't think that's correct now. I think that's really starting to change. Am I right on that?
I agree with you. Traditionally, it was always, we positioned ourselves also as an industry for the ultra luxury. And then that was probably the more social aspect to it. And now we've kind of looked at the powerful healing benefits of what we offer. And that clearly has substantially kind of adjusted prices. And there is more offer out there. So we don't only have luxury offerings. We also have more affordable offerings that really give the same benefit at the end of the day. It's like a hotel offering or any accommodation offering. There is something for all pockets. So this democratization, I didn't get the word right, but it's definitely what we are seeing. We're seeing that movement, and it is worldwide. And it doesn't matter what location you are in. That could happen in Kenya or in South America or Europe or the Middle East. everyone is kind of going back to local traditional healing methods. And it's different. It could be the hammam, which is a very low price, or it could just be a massage or sitting in a hydrotherapy pool. There's so many. It's become more accessible. And I think also not accessible only in price. I think also in terms of we're open to everyone. Even if you don't know anything about what we offer, come in and try. Before, I think it is also, we were quite intimidating as an industry. So you really had to know your products and now we allow, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. There is a place for everyone. And I think people are feeling that. So yes, you're right that there is that access for everyone and all ages.
Yeah, which is fabulous. And it's great to see it moving that way. I think something else that kind of strikes me, okay, it's slightly different. So I've been to Turkey a number of times and I've had the hammam and it's a fabulous experience. I mean, it's a ritual. I don't like cold water, so the jumping in a plunge pool at the end. I wasn't, but I was glad I did it because I actually did feel $1 million afterwards. But do you think in this way that, the experience can be so different in different parts of the world that we go to? And I suppose, is spa and wellness, is it a way of connecting in a deeper level to the sense of place that you're in, connecting to the cultural heritage almost of the nation that you're in?
I love how you put that. That is music to my ears. It is indeed that. It is kind of channeled where it allows you to connect deeply. You wouldn't do a Turkish hammam in the UK, would you? You've gone to Turkey to experience that. And it was interesting. It was like a sense of adventure, and you came out 100 and you learned something about the culture. When you're allowing someone in your home and you are healing them in the best way you know how to heal, that's powerful. I have very vivid memories of, like, I was born and brought up in Kenya, but I'm from Indian descent. So when my mom's mom came in from India, so we had a very different upbringing. But when my mom's mom came and she started mixing all these things, it was just amazing to see how she was mixing herbs and spices. And we connected in ways that were very, very powerful. Then I remember I got so ill when I was in Mexico and I went once. And then the local shaman prepared something for me and I just let myself in that person's hands. That was a very powerful way. And I didn't understand her at all. Though, I've been in Spain a long time. I didn't understand what she was telling me, but I trusted her. And it was the most powerful experience. And I cannot say I've seen something beautiful in Mexico. I can say I have experienced true magic. So I love how you phrase that. It's a way to allow you to that sense of place, to connect with that sense of place. And there's no other way, no better way than, just letting someone heal you, or you just feel an experience that is intimate at the end of the day. You're letting people, mess with your well-being. That's very intimate, and you have to trust them. Yeah. So all your barriers go down. You're just trusting a person. You're trusting that whatever will happen, will happen. And it's part of a journey. It's like a culinary experience. People just try any food. Also with the wellness experiences, it's such a powerful way to connect with the culture and the place. And it's, ingredients, because you're at the end of the day, you're using the herbs and spices. That is very powerful.
It's an adventure as well. And, we're a travel focused company and obviously on the low season. So we'll get into that in a minute, but for me, it also appeals to my spirit of adventure. To take a Turkish hammam, if you haven't done that before, that's, you feel like I'm doing something truly adventurous here. It's completely different. And it's an experience. It's not a photograph or a selfie or anything else. It's something more, it's something deeper than that. And yes. That's what appeals to me. I'm very, very conscious of time, Sonal. What I do want to get into before we finish is, are there any advantages, and I suspect there are quite a few, to taking wellness breaks during the low season months? Obviously, our travelers are focused on the low seasons. That's when they prefer to travel because everything's a little bit more chill, less people around. Do you see any great advantages for wellness breaks during the low season period?
Oh, amazing. Amazing benefits. And I'll always strongly recommend low season is the best time because you will always, your you're more likely to get a booking. You're more likely also to book last minute or change your bookings because, when you go on vacation or you're on a break, things change. So the ability to also change your booking is there. And also you have time to be with your therapist and the whole wellness experience a longer time. And the therapist is also not running from one treatment to the other. So he or she's very able to spend more time with you. You connect with them in a very different way. You get fantastic offers. Not that people are looking for offers, but you always appreciate something at a good, reasonable price instead of something that has been inflated. And then you don't have that push of that you have to buy a product at the end of the treatment. You're just enjoying it. So yeah, the benefits are huge. And you also get lots of visiting practitioners. So visiting practitioners are specialists in naturopathy or Tibetan singing bowls. And it's basically you get to try a lot of treatments and therapies and then engage in ways that you would never find in peak season because hotels are full. They do not have they don't have that space for this kind of really quiet experience. So you tap into that. I mean, several benefits, but what comes is A, price, B, flexibility. C, you connect in a way that is just, totally different. And D, you actually get to meet some very, very interesting visiting practitioners that can transform your lives. And you can stay in touch with them, follow them later on, and learn new things about yourself. So huge benefits in going low season. Not that I'm saying you don't have benefits going high season, but obviously it's far more limited. The focus is different. The reason to travel is different. It's not a bucket list item. It's how can I connect more deeply?
Yeah.
So definitely huge benefits.
Sonal, sadly, we are out of time. I want to thank you so much for a really wonderful conversation. I say this quite often, but, I really mean it. I could have done with spending another hour with you because I'm quite inspired. I'm at a stage in my life where I really feel I need a wellness break. And as we're talking about stuff like hammams and things like that, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I need to be a bit kinder to myself. And I think we all need to be a little bit kinder to ourselves for the future, right?
Yes, I think that is we owe it to ourselves and to the world. And I've really honestly really loved this conversation. It's just been a pleasure being here. So thank you so much for having me and listening to me.
No, of course. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And listen, hopefully we'll catch up again later in the year and we'll do a follow-up. Because actually I'd love to. You were talking a little bit about India there before, and that's somewhere that absolutely fascinates me. So maybe we can do a little bit more on India if you're up for it.
Definitely. I'd love to. It'd be a pleasure.
For now, thanks a million, Sonal. Take good care, and I hope you keep cool there in Madrid.
Thank you very much. Take care.
So there you have it. Well, I think I'm converted. My huge thanks to Sonal for sharing her expertise and insights with us today. And if you'd like to learn more about Sonal and her work, you can visit spa-balance.com, where you'll also find links to Sonal on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But that's our show for this week. Thanks, as always, for your company. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please do leave us a positive rating and review on your podcast app. And also don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to be the first to hear our latest low season stories, articles, and guides. For now, have a great week wherever you are, and remember that travel is always better and fairer for the planet, the local communities, and you, the travellers, when it's without the crowds.